Forearm rotation is incredibly important in the golf swing. It's going to allow you to set the club on plane during the backswing. It's also going to allow you to release the club effectively and pick up some club head speed with very little effort. So the first thing we need to understand about rotation in the golf swing is that as the club goes back, the forearms are going to rotate about 45 degrees. As I mentioned, this sets the club on plane. As we come down, we're going to need to release this rotation, and that's what's going to increase club head speed. So if you can imagine, if you take this club right out in front of your body and you rotate your arms 45 degrees, that's essentially what's happening during the backswing. Now, to further understand how this actually works, I want you to grab your right wrist, and you'll feel this bony protrusion at the bottom of your right wrist here, and this is your ulna. This is the bone that's on the outside of your forearm. Your radius is on the inside of the forearm, and you can feel as you twist these back and forth that these rotate on top of each other one way or another way, and that's what helps the forearms to rotate. So as I'm doing this, you'll notice my upper arm is not rotating. My forearm can rotate independently. Now your upper arms also have a job to play in this rotation, especially the left arm. My left elbow here and my upper arm is going to rotate a bit internally to help set that club on plane during the backswing. That's what's going to help rotate the arm. My right arm, on the other hand, is going to be pretty much, the upper arm is going to be fully externally rotated, leaving this elbow pit facing toward the sky, as we've mentioned several times before in other videos. So this elbow pit is going to be externally rotated and it's going to be pointing straight up. So most of the right arm rotation is going to happen just from the wrist and the radius and the ulna, as we talked about before. Now the tip for today, and it's a great checkpoint and a very easy visualization to have, is actually to do with the right thumbnail. And as we go back to the completion of the takeaway, a couple things need to happen. One, the face needs to be vertical. So this face needs to be rotating until the completion of your takeaway. That face is vertical on the club. And if I do this correctly, if I have a neutral grip, my right thumbnail is going to be facing straight up toward the sky. So let me do this again for you. It's kind of in slow motion. And as I turn back, I'm really focusing on this right shoulder turning back, and I'm getting a little bit of forearm rotation so that my club head is vertical, and now my right thumb, the nail of my right thumb, is facing straight up toward the sky. If I don't get enough rotation, the club's going to be shut, as I see almost every day in the swing reviews, pretty much every day, and this thumbnail is now going to be pointed over in front of my body. One of the reasons I think this all came about was a lot of instructors tell you to swing the club where at the completion of the takeaway, the club face matches your spine angle. This simply isn't true. If I went by this ideology, the club face would match my spine the entire swing, and I think we can all agree that this is, I'm not even sure if that's possible, but definitely not the ideal position to be in. We need this face to rotate open and then closed so that we can pick up some club head speed. One last thing that this right thumbnail is going to do for you, it's going to make sure that you don't cock the wrist too early. So if my club gets to parallel and my right thumb, the thumbnail is pointing vertical, I can't cock my wrist or the thumbnail will be pointing back towards me. So if I cock my wrist too early, now my thumbnail is out of position. If I do it correctly, my hands are a bit below my waist, I'm at the completion of the takeaway, and my right thumbnail straight up toward the sky. Now I will mention that this is a drill, so your thumbnail and the exact degrees of rotation of your thumbnail, it may not be perfectly vertical at the completion of the takeaway. The goal is to get the club face vertical. So if your thumbnail is a couple degrees in or out, it may not be absolutely perfect. If we have a neutral grip, it's going to be pretty close. If you have a very strong grip, so if your hands are turned to the side, your thumbnail may be pointing a bit to the right. If you have a very weak grip, your thumbnail may point a bit to the left. So another recommendation would be to try to work toward a neutral grip, and then realize for this drill, the exact degrees of rotation of the thumbnail may not be perfect.